Afternoon all. Thanks to St Mary's for the invitation. Okay, so I'm going to speak hopefully on a bit more of a micro level about some of the stuff that Ben, maybe on a broader sense, has delivered this afternoon. Okay, so some context. This isn't just a session plan that you can see online, pick up, and go and deliver your players. I think the most important thing here is the rationale and the understanding of why we do what we do at the club. Okay, and some deeper level thought to that. So we have a review process at the end of every year, and we start to think about planning for the next season. Within those plans, we obviously know which players we're going to take from age group to age group. As part of those discussions, we also need to think about, in the youth development phase, so the under 15s, 16s, how our programme fits in with the professional development phase, so the under 18s, the scholars and the professionals within there. And some of the conversation, amongst others, was that the 18s would deploy playing with a 4-4-2 diamond shape, much different to the one that Ollie referenced earlier. Within this, we then think that we need to try and create some sort of transfer between our phase and the phase above to ensure that players do have a seamless transition when they move up and down. That's really, really important for us. Okay, we want to try and prepare players as best we can so they can move up. And within that, we felt that for some time this season, one of the strategies we'd deploy would also be playing a diamond. At the top of the screen, you can see that the moment of the game, okay, so that particular phase of the game, we're going to work on in this session, creating converting, not just in its solo. Here what you'll see is a chance now for individuals to work on particular actions in the session. This is a lead-in practice, again, that was just working on midfield diamond, so playing through the midfield, and in particular, in this block of work, we're trying to find the furthest side of the midfielder. Okay, so the second number 8. We feel that's really important, potentially playing against either a team that presses us, there'll hopefully be space in our overload of a 4-3-3 in there, and subsequent to that, if a team drops off us and holds a mid-block, again, we want to try and work space to go into that second midfielder. Planning led from the first practice into the session plan that you saw, which now results in a 7v7 game. Again, for those that potentially can't read some of the writing on there, one of the constraints of the game, okay, if you're receiving one side, there's a touch restriction, which then means that there's going to be certain responses in that half to then try and release the other side of the diamond. Okay, so that piece of work, again, refer back to the top of the screen, was a create and convert session, just one moment of the game. We then move into another particular week. We're now working on control and possession, so a slight change in the moment of the game. But the key thing here is some of the principles, again, playing through midfield, looking to find the second number 8, that remains the same. All we'll potentially do now is just move the part of the pitch that the players are working in, or potentially some of the outcomes that now come from a create and convert or controlling possession session. The first video you will see a smaller 4v4 game. Again, in that particular moment of the practice, we're looking at some combinations through the diamond, and then again fitting into some of the bigger stuff here. Again, another 7v7 condition games. All of these will be available, and I can go into a lot more detail than I am now about each practice. Okay, so here I said 4v4, so server at the bottom, base of the diamond, and then potentially 3 players to try and make the rest of the diamond. That's just one combination that we'll look to go for our 10 to release our 8s to score, or potentially play into our front 2. Within the plan do review process that's traditional within the FA, we at Fulham you might see a number of staff. You'll see Ben, you'll see myself, you'll see Tom and a couple others. We each within this moment here have a role to play. So Dan Thomas, who's 16's coach, is delivering what you'd see is quite a team message. Okay, but hopefully what you'll also see is myself and Tom having interactions with individual players. So we want to fit individual tasks into the team and into the main sessions. Within that, hopefully then we can start to embed some smaller micro-based work, okay, into the team. And then finally, how does this look in a game? Transfer, what's really important from the sessions into the match days, how we then allow players to work this. Okay, so we want to try and set objectives which allow players to practice. It doesn't always look exactly what you like to see on the TV. It will be messy. Okay, but what's really important is we make a commitment to the players and they make a commitment to themselves ultimately to try and practice in the game. I think the second goal that you'll see here is hopefully just a piece of work that has come together over pre-season. So that's our second number 8, ready to release our full-back. Ultimately we finish with a cross and a finish here. And lastly, Michael's going to present next on some analysis work, hopefully how we can join some multidisciplinary team work into what we do. We've got session plans to coach review that Ben has led on, we review as well with the players, and then also potentially it takes it round into the next sessions.